today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the INNOCN 28-inch 4K monitor. I did receive this product from INNOCN, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this monitor or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging. They label this a 4K art monitor, and they do advertise 99% sRGB. We will be sure to test that out here in this video. This also has full 4K resolution at 3840 by 2160p at 60 Hertz. Also, this is an IPS panel and display, and it does have built-in speakers. Here's a look at the other side of the box. You'll notice the particular model number here is 28D1U. Now let's open it up and look at the contents. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of a customer service and contact card, followed by a quick installation guide here with their customer service and contact info. Charts and diagrams walking us through everything we need to know about stand installation as well as wall mounting, how to adjust and use the stand, buttons and controls, cable connections, so very detailed and thorough. We also have a factory color calibration report here. Nothing on the back side. One included HDMI cable, one power cord, one included Phillips head screwdriver. This is great. If you've ever owned a Scepter monitor, then you know exactly what this is all about. I thought it was fun, guys. I review a lot of monitors here, so I cover a lot of Scepter products. They literally give you the exact same screwdriver that's included with Scepter monitors, but we don't have the Scepter logo and branding, so interesting. If you know, you know. We also have 3 screws right here and the 2 pieces of our stand. Take a look at piece 1. And here's the base plate. That's piece 2. And then lastly, we have the monitor itself. Let's go ahead, let's look at this in more detail. So here's a look at the monitor up close on the back side. Front and center at the bottom, we have our mounting bracket here, power connector. We have all of our input options right here, audio, DisplayPort, and 2 HDMI ports. We have like a 2-tone finish, right? We have our smooth black plastic, then we have our textured grooved plastic. Let's look at it from the bird's eye view, up top, down low right here. Get a feel for how thick this monitor is. Some ventilation here. Look at it from the side. Here's the very bottom with our product info, warranty sticker. We have all of our buttons and controls. Looks like our power button will illuminate, hopefully. And then here's a look at the front of the display with INNOCN's logo and branding down here. A little bit of that same pattern. And then we have a near bezel-less design. Let me look in the light. Okay, so right to my fingertip is where the pixels stop on the screen. That's true for the top, the sides, the bottom. It's going to be right here. It's just a smidge. They're hiding it with that plastic down low. But everything looks great. Now let's go ahead, let's get the stand set up. Step 1 when installing the stand is to actually assemble the stand. We have 2 pieces we have to connect together. So basically you're gonna line up the holes on the bottom right here. And you're just gonna set it right on top, just like that. And you can flip it over, and now, just finger tighten, just twist it in place. If you really wanna use a Phillips head screwdriver or flathead, you could. But finger tight's gonna be good enough. Now take the connected piece right here, and we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna set it on the monitor. So just like that, but we have a little lip here from the table. It can't be flush, so let me just set it like so. Now with it off to the side, we can take 2 out of the 3 included screws. We'll drop them right in place on the back right here. You'll tighten them down, and you'll have the stand set up. So there's your close-up. Everything's fastened together. Now we can stand it upright. Check that out. There we go. The stand is assembled, 28 inches measured diagonally. This is our maximum height setting with the stand. Let's lower it down. That's our minimum height setting. Let's see about tilt. So that's our max tilt back. Here's our max tilt forward. It doesn't really tilt forward at all. You'll see from the side right here. So that's our max tilt forward. There's the tilt back again. Maximum height, minimum height. In regards to rotation, we can't rotate it to the left or to the right, so you'll have to just physically move it yourself. And there's no sort of ability to change the viewing angle if you wanted to have your portrait or vertical viewing experience, that will not be able to be had with the included stand, but you can use your own stand if you want to get any features that's missing with this stand, because it's VESA 75x75 compatible for a mount. So we have the monitor plugged in, powered on, and connected to a PC, so you're able to see the Windows desktop right here. This is giving us our full 4K resolution at 60 Hertz for our refresh rate. The first thing I want to do is go over the menu settings with you guys. I'm not going to go over each individual setting, but I want to show you the layout and all the features that you have right at your fingertips. So we're going to press the menu button. It's going to bring up those icons, and then we're going to go into the main menu here. We have our professional settings, so standard mode, sRGB mode, gamma, CT settings, sharpness, shadow balance. We have our low blue light settings, hue, saturation, dynamic brightness, and then we can go back. Let's go back to the next option, which is going to be our picture settings here. So brightness, contrast, DCR, contextual, model, aspect ratio. Let's go back. Then we'll have our game settings right here. So RTS, RPG mode, FPS arena mode, MOBA arena mode, response time, refresh rate, game crosshair if we want that on there, and then we're back up to the top. Next, let's move down to our picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture mode settings. So you can use this to have two different inputs side by side right here. If you turn it on, you can choose, do you want picture-in-picture or picture-by-picture with the two windows. Here's a quick peek at picture-in-picture. So we got a Windows desktop up in this corner and our PlayStation in the background. And here's a look at picture-by-picture. We got the PlayStation on the left side and we have our Windows desktop on the right side. Next, we have our OSD settings right here where we can choose our language, the timeout, the position, transparency, hotkey settings. So we have our three hotkeys that we can control right there. And then lastly, we have at the very bottom our other settings, input signal. We have our volume, so we can adjust our volume with the built-in speakers, mute, auto power, eye shield right here. We have our reset settings and our information. Let's enter into the info. So you'll see we're currently getting 3840 by 2160. That's our full 4K at 60 Hertz. We have our serial number, the image mode that we're in, and we're currently using DisplayPort. It's time to look at our picture settings here. So currently we're in standard mode. Let's switch that to our sRGB mode. See if you can tell a difference between the two modes right there. We'll go back to standard. We'll let it play, and we'll go back to our sRGB mode. So we have those two image settings right there. Next, we have our RTS RPG mode enabled right here. We have that turned on. Now let's cycle to our FPS option. So we can toggle that one on. And now we're going to turn on our MOBA arena mode. And if you haven't noticed, it toggles the other ones off. So just a couple other image options depending on the image settings that we want, depending on the content that we're consuming. All right, now we have the UFO test pulled up on the display. You'll notice that we're getting 15 FPS, 30 FPS, and 60 FPS at a full 4K resolution. So that's a lot of strain on our system. We're rocking a 3080 Ti for our GPU. Look at how smooth the UFO is up at the top. That's really the key here. The higher the refresh rate of your monitor and the more FPS you can derive at that resolution will give you smoother gameplay and footage. 60 Hertz is nothing to be excited about this day and age, but for 4K, it's really hard for systems to still push that. So at 4K 60, not that bad, but keep in mind, if this was a 1080p or 1440p monitor, you would want to have this have at least 144 Hertz at a minimum. But this is not a gaming monitor per se, but if you did want to game at 4K and you had a system powerful enough, this is what you can expect at the 60 FPS value for how the footage is going to look. Our INNOCN monitor now has a full black screen up so we could check for backlight bleed and IPS glow. I turned off all the studio lights, and keep in mind, for anything to really be visible or noticeable outside of like a glaring defect, you have to turn off all the lights, have a black screen up, and it's completely dark. So for most people, you'll never be in that environment. So this is kind of a silly test. outside of, like I said, any sort of major defect where you could notice that changing and distorting colors in actual pictures. I have not seen that with this monitor, but I did notice a little bit of glow up here. This is an IPS display in this corner, but that was at an angle off to the side looking at it this way. That wasn't from head on or even the other side. And then in regards to any sort of backlight bleeding, I really didn't notice any. If I was being super critical, maybe just a smidge along the seam up at the top. All that is super common. If you're gonna have IPS glow, typically it's gonna be in the corners, and any sort of backlight bleeding would be, you know, the edges and the sides. So maybe just a smidge up here and a little bit for the IPS glow coming down in just this one corner. But that's being really nitpicky, and it hasn't affected any color quality or representation on screen. It's just when it's completely pitch black and you're looking at a black screen and you're at a crazy angle off to the side. Let's talk about the color accuracy and representation on this INNOCN 28-inch computer monitor. Now keep in mind, you can refer to the factory report. I don't have the tens of thousands of dollars of specialized equipment that they would have when they're running their results, but we are using DisplayCal, and these are my findings. So I want to point out that it's advertised that this has 99% sRGB and 93% DCI-P3. So it's hard to tell if that's coverage or volume in their marketing, what they're advertising there. But I did want to show you what I was able to get myself versus what they're advertising. So first up, we have our sRGB values here. Again, 99% is what they advertise. We're showing 99.4% sRGB for our coverage and 118.9% sRGB for our volume. Now, Adobe RGB, we're showing 76.6% coverage and 81.9% volume. Lastly, DCI-P3, they advertised 93%. We fell about 10% short of that metric. We got 84% DCI-P3 coverage and 84.2% for our DCI-P3 volume. Trying to dive in a little bit further to all the information and details we have here, this report shows an average delta E value of 0.55. So pulling up our delta E information, we have the same delta E 94. We're showing that we get an average of 0.46, so a little bit better than what they're even advertising, and a maximum value of 1.47. If I look at their delta E color differences for a couple of the blues, looks like blue 1 and blue 3, they're slightly above 2. But for us, we're hitting a max of 1.47 right there, with an average under what they advertise with the calibration report of 0.55. All right, who needs all those fancy tests? Let's just do a simple test here, browsing the web. Now keep in mind, please, please, please know that it's gonna look so much better in person than with the camera pointed at a screen, but I want you guys to see this nonetheless to get a feel for how everything looks and how it operates here. So we got YouTube's trending section pulled up. So we're browsing right here, seeing top and popular videos. Very fluid, right? Full 4K here, 60 hertz. Take a look. Some of these videos will start playing, right? The autoplay. Clear text, very crisp. Now we'll pull up The Verge, a popular tech blog. So maybe you're not just watching movies, streaming content, you want to read some news, stay up to date, things going around online, browsing forums, social media. You get it. But all the different articles, embedded tweets, advertisements, videos, everything's showing up great. Plenty of screen real estate at 28 inches. Let's go, let's just click on an article. Same thing, look at the different colors, the clarity, very crisp. And then lastly, maybe you want to use this monitor for some shopping. We got Amazon pulled up. You know the drill. One-click purchasing. What more can you ask for? You can browse and find your favorite item. But yeah, looks great no matter what you're doing online. All right, now we're playing some sample music through the speakers right here. We do have the volume maxed at 100, so you have to give it a listen, see if you can hear everything. The microphone's, you know, about 2 feet away from the monitor here. I can tell that the sound is very faint at maximum volume. These aren't going to pack a punch or really deliver like a home theater experience to you. I'd say they're on par or maybe just a little bit quieter and more faint than your typical built-in monitor speakers, but at the same time, I'm just grateful to even have built-in speakers at all. So listen in for a sec. And now we'll sample a couple of seconds of Crab Rave right here. Warning, you might want to start to dance. But hopefully you get the idea. They sound very, very built-in speaker-like. Now it's time for my favorite test. We're going to be testing out the input lag on this monitor. Now keep in mind, input lag is different from response time. So I could not find an advertised response time for this particular monitor. So I'm going to guess, just to guess, it's usually probably around 4 or 5 seconds when they're not advertised. That's going to be fine for most of you out there, especially if you're not using this for gaming, competitive gaming, anything along those lines. So anyways, input lag or input latency is the difference in time between when a signal is sent and displayed or received on the monitor or TV. So let's see how quick it is. The lower, the better. And that's well within range, showing 1.2-ish to 1.4. 1.4 seems to be probably a good average there. Middle should be in the 8s. All right, we're rocking 8.5, and the bottom should be 16 or so. Let's see what we're getting there. 16.1? 16.1, so not bad. So around 1.4 milliseconds for the input lag on this display. Now we're trying out some gaming here. We got Forza 5 pulled up. Full 4K, 60 FPS. Take a look at this. Max volume 2 again, so you can hear some more of the built-in speakers. Look at the reflections, the colors, the shadows, the blacks, right? The contrast. Different lighting environments. Man, the reflections on the cars. That Corvette's beautiful. Looking in the monitor here, like the camera just doesn't do it justice to see any monitor in person versus over the internet with the camera pointed at the screen. But this game in and of itself, Forza 5, is just so beautiful. The attention to detail really shows. And having that extra screen real estate at 28 inches, not bad in my opinion. Now we're looking at Assassin's Creed Valhalla here. Full 4K, 60 hertz refresh rate. Some of this too, the performance will vary depending on your GPU, what it's capable of doing. So I noticed some sputtering here. That's probably more so the fault of our GPU. We are rocking a 3080 Ti from MSI. So it's a lot to ask with intensive games like this. So you'll notice some of that there. That's not the monitor. So just make sure you get what you need in regards to, don't pay for extra features, high refresh rate, high resolution if you don't even have a system that's capable of pushing those values for you and making it an enjoyable experience. Pay attention to things like size, color, you know, if there's a minimum baseline because maybe you want 144 hertz because you're doing 1080p gaming, things like that you have to consider. And this isn't technically a gaming monitor as well, so keep that in mind. Colors look great though, beautiful screen. This is Borderlands 3 at full 4K. We're showing around 78 FPS right now, between 70 and 80 FPS. 60 hertz, max volume. You get the idea here. Just pay attention to the movement, the motion, how everything looks. Would you be happy experiencing this yourself? How does it compare to maybe your current setup or monitor? fire, the flames, the smoke, the embers. I'm having too much fun, I know. My favorite part, though, it's the slime barrel explosion. Gotta do the little sneak attack first. It's the little things after watching this, you know, thousands of times. But there's some of our barrels, you see it? Little foreshadowing of what's to come. Firefight here. Uh-oh, here goes it! It exploded. And then just pay attention to the flashbangs, too, as they come up. I like seeing that. Just get a feel for the monitor, some of that faster movement and motion. But yeah, that's Borderlands 3. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about you next-gen console people either. First, we have a PlayStation 5 right here connected to our INNOCN monitor. We're looking at our video output information, and we are getting 3840 by 2160 at 60 Hertz with the PlayStation 5. And I have you Xbox people covered as well. We have the Xbox Series X here connected to the INNOCN monitor, and looking at our general TV and display options, we have our full 4K resolution here. And we can dive into some of those details, and you'll notice we are getting 60 Hertz because that is what this monitor is capable of. So we are getting 4K 60 using our Xbox Series X with this INNOCN monitor. So let me share with you my final thoughts in regards to this INNOCN monitor. So there aren't a lot of apples to apples comparisons due to this unique size of 28 inches. So the good news is you're getting a slightly larger screen, but you're not paying for it compared to the competitors out there that are typically 27 inches 4K 60 Hertz IPS panel or 28 inches 4K 60 Hertz an IPS panel. So this monitor has built-in speakers. Sure, they don't sound the best, but as I always say, I'd rather have them and not need them. Nice, large display. Love having 4K resolution. Great for you productivity people out there. And with some of the color accuracy of this monitor, depending on your usage case and scenario, if you're a graphic designer, this might actually work for you and give you a budget-friendly option for editing photos, editing videos, things like that. Especially if you want to have 2 or 3 monitors together, you'll appreciate the cost savings with this monitor versus one from LG or Dell, things along those lines. But I think for me, I'd love to see some better speaker quality. I'd love a couple USB ports built in and USB Type-C if this is geared towards that productivity crowd. And I think they missed the boat here with the stand. It's nice we have the height adjustment, but there's no swivel or rotation. That is quite a bummer to me. It'd be nice to have the vertical and portrait viewing experience with this. But in regards to price, they're highly competitive and usually some of the most affordable on the market if you're okay not buying name brand.